Your body is in pain. It's hard to breathe. Every step you take, you feel it. It hurts. But you keep going because you can see it. You're 80 meters from the summit of Everest. You've been training for this your whole life. Everything you've done to this point is to get you to that summit. Then you hear this. I thought you had the rope. In that moment, your dreams are shattered. Because you know you're not going to make it to the summit without a rope. It would be suicide to keep climbing without that rope. Someone dropped the ball. As Carla Wheelock told us a story in La Cruz de Guanacaxle, you could hear a pin drop in the room. You could tell by her voice the disappointment of not reaching her goal, of not reaching the summit, because of something as small as not having a rope. But she learned something very valuable that day, something that stayed with her for a very long time. You see, she thought that the other members of the team had the rope. They thought that she had the rope. But they didn't. Now, she realized that she was partly to blame. She should have made sure that her team had the right tools to accomplish their mission. It would have been very easy to just blame people. Well, it was your fault. You should have done it. You should have checked it. But she didn't do that. She accepted responsibility. And isn't it true that when we experience failure, we also find it very easy to blame others? We might blame our parents, might blame society, we might even blame potholes. There's no end to the people we can blame when we don't accomplish what we need to accomplish. But Carla didn't do that. She took the blame and she learned from it. If you want to have the goal of climbing Mount Everest and getting to the summit, now we know who's paying for the beer tonight. If you want to accomplish that goal, you need the right tools and you need something else. The first thing you do is you find a Sherpa. Now what does a Sherpa do? A Sherpa is an expert mountaineer. They live in this area. They know the terrain. They know the dangers. And their job is to get you up that mountain safely. They'll even take you up to a higher base camp to get you acclimatized. And then they'll take you down. Then they'll take you back up. And they'll take you down. Because they want to get you ready for that final summit climb. And they know that you're not ready until you do that process. When they do this, they also learn about you. They find out what your limitations are. And they're able to help you along the way. And probably the biggest thing they can do is protect you from danger. There might be a certain path you want to take. They might say, no, that one's too dangerous today. You should take this one. Or maybe you want to go on a certain day and go to one of those higher camps, but they know the area. So they'll say, no, not today. I feel a storm coming. I want to keep you safe. Well, for us, we all have Sherpas, but we call them business coaches. And in essence, a business coach is like a Sherpa because they help you attain the goal that you want to attain, keep you safe from dangers, from the pitfalls that other people might have had, and get you towards that goal safely. But it's not just the right tools. It's not just the right Sherpa. You have to have the right team. That's probably the most important thing you need when you have such a goal. You know, you can have the best boots, the best crampons, the best tools, but if you don't have the best team, you're not going to make your goal. That's why it's so important. When you think about a team, my friend just coming up. When you think about a team, oftentimes you think about your staff. And while it's true that your staff are part of your team, some of them have different roles. Some of them are at base camp, and they take care of all your needs. They make sure that you have the tools you need, they even feed you, and they take care of communication and many other things. But I want you to think about more the team that are climbing the mountain with you. Who are the ones that are tied on that same rope with you as you climb that hill? Because these are the people that you put your life into. If they have a misstep, if they fall, they've taken you down with them. But if they succeed, you succeed also. It's very important to choose the right people to climb with you. So how do you succeed? Well, you might have a different goal. Obviously, it's not going to be Everest, but maybe you want to succeed in business or in whatever endeavor you want to do. How do you achieve success? So for the next little while, I'm going to be your Sherpa. So I'm going to give you 5 things that you can do. But before that, I have to make a confession. I have 2 addictions, and I need to tell you about them now. Before I tell you what they are, I'm going to give you 2 hints, so maybe you'll guess. The 2 quotes that I really enjoy. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That's 1. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. What are my 2 addictions? Well, I'm addicted to mastermind groups and associating with world-class entrepreneurs. That's what I'm totally addicted to. Why? Well, because they teach me to work smarter, not harder. Isn't that something we all want? Of course. So the team that I choose to surround myself with, we're climbing the same mountain. We have the same goals. And I choose the best people to be with me on that journey. The best tools and the best people. Because I want to reach the summit too. Just to give you an example, I just added this last week, but during this last weekend at the Grand Prix, I had a chance to spend a whole weekend with amazing entrepreneurs. One of which is Jason Gaynard. If you don't know Jason Gaynard, you should definitely check him out. He runs one of the best events in the industry for entrepreneurs. Everybody wants to be at that event, and there's only 150. Now, during supper, he told us about this Hail Mary pass that he had to do in business. If you know what a Hail Mary pass is in football, it's when you just basically blindly throw the ball to the end of the field, hoping that one of your teammates catches it. So he caught a Hail Mary. From who? From Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Work Week, a big influence for me to go to Mexico. Now, Jason caught this Hail Mary pass. And at that time, he was $250,000 in debt. And what did he have to do right after he caught it? He had to throw his own Hail Mary pass. And he had to raise $80,000 to buy 4,000 books so that he can complete his Hail Mary pass. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. I don't have time, but if you want to talk to me later, I'll give you the whole story. It's incredible. But those are the people that I try to surround myself with. People who really have success deep into their heart. So today we're going to learn about 5 things that you can do today that will have an impact on your success tomorrow. Hopefully not as dangerous as what this guy's planning. And these are the things I learned from my 20 years of experience, from the people I associate with, from the conferences I go to, and for the constant craving I have for information. But first of all, who the heck is Randal? Well, I come from here, but I lived here for 5 years. I'm back here now. It all started with this, so I guess you can call me this, but I really feel like this. I've been in this business for a long time. Some people call me this, but I'm really this. I'm Yoda for IT companies. I help IT companies hack their growth. So what are the 5 strategies that are my favorite that I've learned along the way? Well, I have another confession to make. I'm not a morning person. In fact, probably a lot in this room are not morning people also, especially if you're in the computer field. We just love to stay up late at night solving problems and getting up late in the morning. So I started doing something a couple of years ago that to me was a game changer. It changed my life, literally. I started getting up just 15 minutes earlier. 15 minutes. Did it really change my sleeping habits? Not that much. And I'll tell you why. When you take a flight and they do the security demonstration, when they come to the oxygen, what did they tell you to do? Anyone? They tell you to put it on you first, right? Why? Because if you're passed out, how are you going to put it on your child or the passenger next to you? So the reason you put on the oxygen mask first is so that you can help others. So that 50 minutes that I've carved out of my day, that I've bought out, I use it for personal development. This is where I exercise my brain. I am exercising, starting finally, but I needed to exercise my brain on a daily basis. And that's where I take my oxygen. And this is really important. The one rule I have is I do this before picking up my messages, before picking up my text messages, phone messages, emails, because what happens if I do that? Well, I'm now in somebody else's agenda. I'm being led, my day's being led by their needs. So that 15 minutes is very precious to me. It's become my favorite 15 minutes of the day. I sit down with some coffee, and that's my time. That's where I get my oxygen. What can you do? Well, you can listen to a TED Talk. TED Talk is what, 15 minutes? There's some in multiple languages too. Some en français. What about reading a business book? We all have so many books in our library that we haven't even touched. We bought them because one day we're going to read them. And there's so much valuable information in there. Why not read 1 chapter? Read 2 chapters. After a couple days, you're going to get pretty far. And when you do this, how do you think you're going to show up at work? Wouldn't you show up like this? Well, maybe not as excited as this guy. But you're going to show up with this energy because you just learned something. You're excited about something that maybe you can use in your business. Maybe you can share with a peer. And that is infectious. When you start cultivating that to your employees, the people that surround you, you start developing a new culture. And this culture is an entrepreneur culture. You want the people within your company to stay in your company, but help you reach your goals. And when you start using this method, it can truly help them become better and help you to reach your goal. And when they do start doing this, well, they're going to start sharing. They're going to share what they learn with their colleagues, with the people they work with their staff, maybe they're the people they manage. And you can't help it. Once this happens, you start growing because everyone is on the same mission as you are at that point. Because we're here at the Microsoft offices, beautiful offices, I'm going to use this example. Why not use Yammer to give a platform that you control to let your employees share what they've learned in their 15 minutes? Now, maybe they'll post a TED Talk that they really liked, or it might be an article, a blog somewhere. And then they can share that, and that will get passed around. It's viral. It's going to create an awesome community. Because when you think about it, the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. Not only will it improve your life, but it'll improve the lives of all those around you. So that's the first thing that I wanted to share today. Now the second strategy. I call call this Business 2020 Vision. And I normally have a whole 1-hour talk just about this subject with workbooks and worksheets, and we do it all together. We won't have time for that, but I still want to give you an idea of what this is all about. When people think about business vision, they sometimes mistakenly think about business statements, vision statements. And to be quite honest, I think those are kind of useless. You know how it works. Everybody goes into the boardroom, all the important people of the company go into the boardroom, they put a bunch of words, put a bunch of adjectives up there, they take down the ones they don't like, and they try to form a sentence that sort of makes sense with whatever's left over to try to tell the whole company what they believe in. But more often than not, those words kind of just stay on the chalkboard and they don't really enter the heart. It becomes kind of useless. I'm talking about something a little different. And I'm going to give you my example, which you kind of got a hint of earlier. I remember it was a cold day here in Montreal, and I had a lot of debt. I had a house, it was costing me a lot of money, I built it myself, and I was stressed. It was cold. We know how winter is in Quebec. So I'm a joker, if you haven't noticed this by now. So I lean into my wife and I go, why don't we just sell the house and move to Mexico? She goes, okay. I go, what? Not expecting that at all. But so began our journey to sell our house, sell a lot of things that we had, pack up our kids, and drive 3,000 kilometers all the way to Mexico. And what an adventure that was. Now, when this happened, I started envisioning my life over there. And things just started happening. Wouldn't you believe it, that same day where I joked around about moving to Mexico, did I meet somebody who lived in Mexico, a Canadian. And of course, she sold the whole thing, and we hook, line, and sinker, we loved it. So, next thing you know, I decide, okay, we're gonna put our house for sale. Within a week, it's sold. Is that a sign? I don't know. But it was amazing how things just happened. And they happened really incredibly fast. And I'll explain why a little bit later. So, we chose a little town outside of Puerto Vallarta, and that was the lifestyle I wanted. See, I didn't want to wait till I was 65 and retire to start enjoying my life, enjoying my children, whom I was no longer seeing because I was so busy working. I wanted to spend time now and choose the lifestyle I wanted. So, here's me and my family. We're in Bucerias, Mexico, a little town just outside of Puerto Vallarta. And that's what I was able to do. I was able to have the lifestyle I wanted and still work and have my company. Now, I had awesome adventures, and I don't want to impress anybody here today. I just want to impress upon you the importance of these things. This is me and my buddy Kevin, and we're actually in the basement, in the private cellar of Jose Cuervo. And we're tasting the family and private reserve that only family and friends get. But that year, they started opening it up to the public, so we had a chance to taste it. And I gotta say, it was the best tequila I've ever had. Surrounded by my best friends, it was an awesome experience. And we had time and time after time, we had great experiences like this. I even joined a rock band. We haven't had a gig yet, but I'm hopeful. Obviously, this lifestyle gave me a chance to reconnect with my kids and to spend time with them and create memories that we still talk about today. But more than that, because I had this idea, this vision, I received a superpower. And this superpower, each and every one of you also can have. So what is it? Well, it's called the Reticular Activating System. I call it RAS for short because it's very hard to say. Probably the best way to explain is when I needed a car and I went to the dealership, I chose a BMW X3. I don't work for BMW, I'm not getting paid for this, but I chose a BMW X3 because, as you know, our roads are terrible and winter is harsh. So I wanted something that my family would be safe in. Now, when you go to the dealership and you've chosen your car, you know that that's going to be your car, you obviously don't leave with it because they have to prep it, get things ready. What do you think happened as I'm driving home that same afternoon? What do you think I'm seeing everywhere? I'm seeing it, where were they? Were they not there yesterday? Is somebody playing a joke on me? No. All of a sudden, I'm seeing X-trees everywhere. To best explain it, it's because your brain is constantly bombarded by information. Millions of bits of information are coming towards you at every second. And you have a bouncer going, no, not yet. But when you have a vision, you're basically telling your bouncer, yeah, let that one in. That one come in. And you start seeing opportunities that you never would have seen before. It's as if the whole universe is conspiring to help you. Isn't that something that we all want? For once? So I want everyone to stand up. We're going to do an experiment. I'm going to show you the power of vision. Everyone stand up. Levez-vous, s'il vous plaît. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little experiment. And I want you to stand straight. Your feet are parallel to your shoulders. And you're going to take your hand, your right hand, and put it up like this. Okay, now we're going to go down and go as far left without hitting anyone, as far left as you can, and pick a focal point, somewhere where you'll remember where you've been. As far left as you can. Now you come back. Go back to the reset position. Now we're going to do this again, but we're going to close our eyes and we're going to imagine doing the same thing. So you're not going to move your arm, just imagine it. So close your eyes. Imagine yourself putting your arm back down and going as far left as you can. But this time, imagine yourself going farther than that point you just chose. Just a little bit farther. Now imagine coming back and going back to the reset position. Now open your eyes. Let's do it one last time. Hands up, go down, as far left as you can. What happened? Further. You went further, right? The power of vision is that you can go further than even you think you can once you envision it. So thank you very much. It's a little trick I learned from Jack Canfield in California. So what exactly is 2020 vision? Well, it's very simple. Imagine if Radio Canada or Time Magazine picked you as the person of the year. So imagine maybe 2020 is like 4 years away. That's a little too far to imagine. Let's say 2 years, 3 years from now, you're the person of Montreal, the best person in Montreal. You've made the cover. Imagine what your life is going to be like. Imagine they're doing an article on you, and you have to describe where your company is at. So here you are. You've got the film crew, because they're filming you, of course, because you're so popular by them. And they're walking you through your offices. Where do you work? Who do you work with? Who do you not work with? Who are the customers that you fired? What did they tell? What did they say about you, your services? In the news, the media? How do the employees talk about you? What do you sell? What do you do? Do you have big offices? Do you have multiple offices? Imagine what that would be like. Each and every one of you personally, because it's all going to be different. Now, this whole crew, they follow you home. Now, you got to describe who do you wake up with? Who are your friends? What do you do? What do you do to let off steam? Where do you go on vacation? We call this the perfect day exercise because you're really imagining what a perfect day is like. And if you can put that down, it can really be powerful, just like the experiment we just did. When I was at one of Jason Gaynard's events, we were told not only to do this once, but do it 3 times. And every single time, it had to be different. So for me personally, the first time was kind of obvious. Stuff that I kind of like, whatever. The second one was a little out there. It involved rock stars. But the third one was the one that really touched my heart, because that's when I envisioned myself doing a business with my family. And I'm very close to that. So do it 3 times and make sure it's different every time. You'll be surprised at what the third one will come up with. If you want to have some ideas of things you can ask yourself, I made a little business worksheet. You can download it for free at itrevolution.ca/vector365. But sometimes your vision might change. For me, at a certain point, when I came back from Mexico, because my daughter has juvenile arthritis, we had to come back for the healthcare here. I sold my company. I went from a one-man show to a multi-million-dollar MSP, but I had to sell it. And I was working at the company I sold it to, but I was miserable. I would come home drained physically and emotionally. I had nothing left to give to my wife, nothing left to give to my children. It wasn't that it was a bad company, it just wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. So I went to one of my mastermind groups, and they asked me 2 questions that changed my life. What would you do if money were no object? And what do you do where you lose complete track of time? I thought about it, and pretty quickly I said, well, writing and public speaking. So here I am in front of you, living that dream. And I've been able to speak at conferences all across Canada, across the US, in front of hundreds of people in the US, 2 giant screens. It was very intimidating, but I did it. I even went to speak in the UK. I've been living that dream because I envisioned it. And opportunities started presenting itself, and I took them. So I turned the impossible into the possible because of vision. That is the power of having a vision. So what's your vision? The third strategy. I really like this one. When you think about this engine, you think about optimization, right? You want to tweak this to get as much horsepower as you can. So we do that with our coaching clients. And we use this framework. It's called the ICXU framework. What is it? It's a process of delegation, but delegation with intelligence. So we'll go through the letters one by one. So obviously I'm a Star Wars fan. So I stands for incompetent. This is something that you're really not good at. There's plenty of other people out there that you shouldn't be touching this thing. Oftentimes as business owners, we try to do everything ourselves. Certain things we have to realize, I'm incompetent at it. Competent, for the C, is something where we're good, but so is everyone else. There are plenty of other people that are just as good, if not even better. X, this is something we're excellent at. We're probably better than most people at this. And finally, U is unconscious. This is something that you can do in your sleep. You're so good at this that time flies. You know, if you didn't have to feed the kids, you could probably do this for free. You love it so much. So analyze your day. Use this framework to analyze every single task you do. Find out what you're competent at, even what you're excellent at, and give it to someone else. You need to be where you can do things unconsciously, where time just flies when you're flowing. Because the most successful people in the world, that's what they do. They stay in this constant flow where they're doing really what they're superstars at. Just to give you an example, I'm of course a junkie for profile tests, so this is Wealth Dynamics, this is my results. I'm creator, so I'm Richard Branson. I'm thankful right now that I'm not a deal maker. I want to be a little scary. But I'm a creator. So what does that tell me about my personality? Well, as you read the report, it tells me that I have certain strengths. I'm a visionary, I'm creative, I can inspire people. That's good to know. That's what I should be doing. These 3 things are the activities that most of my day should be like. But knowing what your strengths are is not enough. What are my weaknesses? Well, I'm overly optimistic sometimes. Just ask my wife. I'm easily distracted. Squirrel! And I have a hard time finishing things because I'm always trying to create something new, the next shiny object. So I surround myself with people that are strong in the things that I'm weak at. For example, Lodzi here, she's my executive assistant, so she's the one that keeps me on track so I can keep creating content, keep creating the courses we do, and I keep coaching the way I coach because she can take care of all the other stuff along with the rest of my team. So really it's all about delegation, but it's about smart delegation. If you delegate something that you're really not good at, that you're incompetent at, and you delegate that to somebody who's also not good at it, that's not delegation, that's dumping. You're dumping a problem onto somebody else. That's not going to help your organization. So make sure that you find the right people. If you think about technology, it's the same thing. We're here at Microsoft, when you think about it, technology, it's expensive. The time it takes to care for it is expensive, all the staff you need. And if you think about it, if you have a Tesla, would you take it for maintenance at an Audi dealership, Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari? No. They're awesome in themselves, but you're going to take it to the Tesla dealership because they built it. They know best how to fix it and maintain it, right? If you think of Office 365, this is a platform that most of the world is working with right now. Most of you are here because you're on Office 365, or you will be. It's inevitable. Who takes care of your IT? Who takes care of your software? Do you do it in-house? Or do you let the people who built it take care of it? I'll let you answer that question by yourselves. So what we want to take out of this session is that if you can find what your strengths are and delegate your weaknesses, you can build a stronger team and you can optimize that team. Now for the fourth strategy. They say practice makes perfect, but I say that's false. Why? I'll tell you a little story about golf, and me trying to learn golf. Now, when I started playing golf, I would play golf, and more often than not, I would slice the ball. It would take off all the way to the lanes. Now, if you know anything about golf, you know that that's probably not a good thing. First of all, because you want to stay in your own lanes. So I could whack away that ball 100 times, 1,000 times. Will I get any better? A little bit. But I'm not going to be getting the big changes I need to become a better golfer. So I asked one of my friends, I said, what do I need to do to be better at golf? So he showed me two very simple things: how to grip my club and where to stand in relationship with the ball. So I had a better stance and a better grip, and my game improved dramatically. I'm sure you can all beat me anyway, but it was way better than what I had. So I was taught how to improve my game, or if I have a weakness, how to compensate for it. So I say that practice plus guidance is what makes perfect. Now, when I speak at conferences, I have the hardest job out of any presenter. Why? Because I'm telling you to invest in yourselves and in your teams. And the first things you tell me is, Randall, what's the ROI? You all know that if you buy something for $1,000, you sell it, buy a piece of hardware for $1,000, you sell it for $1,200, you make $200, it's so simple. But when it comes to investing in yourself, investing in your team, it's not that easy, much more difficult. For some, I've seen their companies double in profits or in size. What would that do to you if you were able to double? For others, it's dividends. It's small incremental changes that happen over and over again to just make them better. Dividends are awesome. They keep coming. For others, it's frameworks and strategies that really help them build a solid foundation for them to grow their business. When you have a solid framework, you can go high. So when you think about your business strategy, or even your career strategy, You want to think of, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What keeps me up at night in my business? For me, for golf, I needed to admit that I needed help. I needed to seek it. And I needed to follow through on the advice I was given. That was the only way I could be a better golfer. So I say, you should do the same thing for yourself and for your team. Seek out that training. Seek out the Sherpa that you need from the previous illustrations that we gave you. And really find a way to increase the knowledge of your team, help them fix things or compensate for them, and you'll have a stronger company. But you might say, well, what if we train them and they leave? I like what the second guy says. What if we don't and they stay? So you want to have staff that they know that you believe in them. And the only way to show that is if you invest in their success also, because they're along with you for the ride. So what's the ROI? Well, it's definitely a game changer, like it was for me in golf. And what happens if you don't do it? If we stick to the analogy of golf, it becomes a handicap for your company. And in golf, you don't want to have a handicap. You want to be at par with your game so that you're actually scoring what you're supposed to be scoring. Because there are no mulligans in business. You can't afford not to invest in your team. So don't settle for par. Follow through and invest in your team. Now the fifth strategy. Going back to that engine and the optimization. One thing we really need to optimize is our time. It's the most valuable thing we have. It's the great equalizer, right? Whether you're rich or poor, no matter where you're from in the world, we all have 24 hours in a day. We wish we had more. So, I like this. Are you lonely? Tired of working on your own? Do you hate making decisions? Hold a meeting. You can see people, show charts, feel important, point with a stick, eat donuts and impress your colleagues, all on company time. Meetings, the practical alternative to work. Isn't it true that a lot of meetings turn into this? It's giant nap time. How many times have you been in a meeting and you're just forcing yourself, almost pinching yourself to stay awake? There's a reason for that. And I'm not saying all meetings are bad, but there are certain ones that you don't want to be in. So, my tip, my strategy, no agenda, no meeting. Pas d'agenda, pas de meeting. You see, if someone doesn't give you an agenda for a meeting, what does that tell you? Did they prepare? Probably not, right? If they give you an agenda, it means they know what you're going to talk about. They're going to use your time wisely, and it allows you to prepare yourself for what they need to know. So you can be much more efficient in your meetings simply by having an agenda. So, because unfortunately I work a lot by time, I have very limited time in my days. If someone wants a meeting with me and they want to discuss something, if they don't have an agenda, or I don't give them an agenda, I don't take the meeting. Because I need to know what we're going to talk about so I can prepare myself. Not only to look intelligent, but I want to be able to bring value to that meeting and get it over with as quick as possible with the best outcome. And I also do this on the phone. Somebody wants to have a conference call and they really don't tell me what it's about, I have a feeling it's just going to waste my time. So no agenda, no meeting. Some people really enjoy the stand-up meeting. And for a lot of companies, based on the Agile framework, it's a cool thing. How does it work? Well, the name says it all. Stand up. So everybody has to stand up. That way it has to be short. It's 15 minutes long normally. Just got to be in and out. And you ask 3 questions. What did you do today? What will you do today? Sorry, let me start that over. What did you do yesterday? What will you do today? And are there any hurdles blocking you? So what happens with this quick status report? You get to feel the pulse of your team. You get to find out, what are they doing? What have they accomplished? And if there's some hurdles in their way, well, you're going to make sure to resolve those during that day to let them go forward. But what if you work solo? Well, you can kind of do the same thing. If I'm working on the road, so when I often speak, I'm working off the road, so I'm not with my team. Well, I ask myself 3 questions first thing in the morning. Again, before picking up the cell phone. I want to see what are the 3 things I need to do today to advance my business further. And if I can do even one on my list, I know I've had a good day. Because I know that as soon as I pick up my emails, I'm going to be on somebody else's agenda. So this is a great way to make sure that every single day you're climbing just a little bit more, one step at a time. So use time wisely. So what happens if you put all these 5 things into practice? You train yourself first, the oxygen mask. You visualize success. You optimize your team. And you train with your team. And you use your time wisely. You'll reach the summit. That's what Carla Wheelock did 1 year after that initial attempt. Because she had that vision. She kept that goal in her mind. And it's not just about, she says this, it's not about getting to the summit, it's also about getting down safely. And she did that, thankfully. Because that's the dangerous part. But you see, Carla kept the vision. Even though there was a major roadblock, there was a failure there. She kept that vision alive. This time, she brought the right tools. She made sure that her team had everything they needed to succeed. She chose the right Sherpa to keep them safe. And she chose the right team to climb with her and trust with her life. She'll say, your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. So I ask you today, do you have the right tools, the right Sherpa, the right team to reach your summit? Thank you. I'm back. No, I don't know. I give you a 6 tool if you want. So how is everybody enjoying the day so far?
It's very good.
I hope I gave you some interesting nuggets, because I always want to bring value to a room. Like I say, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I truly value every one of you, because I truly find that I'm in the presence of some really smart people. And that's what I strive to do all the time. I don't consider myself the smartest guy in the room, but I like to associate with them. So thank you for being here. And I really enjoyed the time we spent together. I'll be here all afternoon, so you can feel free to ask me some questions and ask me about that Hail Mary pass. I'll give you a good story.